From the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the CTO Show. Today, I'm very pleased to join me from Lithuania, Jonikas. Jonikas, thank you very much for joining me. The way I like to do it, I keep it for my guests to introduce themselves and what they do. So the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Mehmet. It's really great pleasure and great honor to be here. I'm actually a startup marketing advisor. At least this was the way I was, introducing myself. But actually, I've written the book. I published the book that became one of the top 5 best-selling books on Amazon, Startup Evolution Curve. It stayed in charts, in top 5 charts for almost 4 months. And the fun fact that even California State University used this book as the course book for MBA students teaching new subject, technology, and startups. Eventually, after publishing that book, I decided, well, why not to create the course? So I created the course and published it on Udemy so that it's accessible to as more as possible startup founders. I don't recall, so it gets right now about 16 or 17,000 entrepreneurs enrolled in the course. And globalgurus.org ranked this course as the number 4 best program in the world for startups in 2022. So that's who am I. And now actually, I'm mostly focused on working with SaaS startups and online platform startups. I created the double sprint method to help early stage SaaS and platform founders to validate their idea and to get customers even before writing a single line of code. For some people, it might sound like a controversial thing, but actually this is what we do on a daily basis. That's probably why I ended up here being with Mehmet on this podcast.
100%. This is, why I wanted you, Jonikas, to share a little bit of your wisdom, I would say. But, something I like to ask out of curiosity. So what interested you in the world of startups? Like coming from, you had a PhD in economics, right? And so what attracted you to the startup world?
Okay, as like discussing the fact of the PhD, I was never very deep into economics. It was not in my blood, but marketing was in my blood. I hold masters in marketing, and there was just a chance to study a PhD in economics. I just took it and okay, that's cool. But I'm using PhD knowledge of economics in marketing. I try to measure everything and everywhere. And sometimes people say, well, you are getting obsessed with metrics and analyzing everything. But why I went into startups, it was because 3 our traditional business clients who tried to build something innovative, something crazy, told me that the more idea is innovative, the more idea is crazy, you guys, and especially you, Donatas, deliver us the most possible value. Because if you want to build another one restaurant or another one construction company, you look already did, 5 restaurants in a row and successful, you go to them and you will do that. But if you want to create something that was never done before, so what the heck you should do? Where should you look for? So you need to recreate everything from scratch. And this is where Donatas, you are very, very helpful and useful for us. And that I'm in marketing for almost 20 years. And that at that time, I didn't even consider that these companies, innovative companies, were called startups. This was like the initial touch point. Okay, so I want to dive deeper into these innovative, strange, and traditional, unorthodox businesses. So let's dive deeper into that. And that's how I ended up in the startup world. But the fun fact, I was not very successful at the very beginning with startups. Actually, I tried to create my own startup. At that time, I didn't call it a startup. It was like medical tourism platform, like how to attract potential medical tourists to our country, how to serve them, how to sell medical services to foreigners. That sounds kind of cool. We got some kind of idea validation, but eventually it flopped. And that was like the key fact that made me to go very, very deep into startups, how to validate the idea, how marketing actually works with startups. And I noticed that, well, even if you have 10 years of experience in marketing with traditional businesses, it doesn't mean a lot when you're working with startups because it's totally different game. Like volleyball and basketball, everyone is using the ball, but the ball is different. Rules are different. And gosh, so what game are you playing? So that's when I decided to dive deeper into startups, and that's what got me interested in that. When it's very strange and there is no like pre-built solutions.
Great. So let's start from something you mentioned during your introduction. So let's start with, should we start with the book, or should we start with the double sprint? Which one would make more
Well,
sense?
Uh, it probably depends on who your target audience is, who are those listeners of your podcast. If they are like startup founders in general, well, we can speak about the book. But if you are more in tech, in like software and platforms, online tools, maybe double sprint method would be more interesting for them.
Let's start because I have a mixed audience. So let's start with the book. At least
Okay.
what, uh, let's say, the motive behind it, and the main highlight that you can tell us about.
Okay. The main motive it was it's more than 1,000 startup experience collected in the book. So why to learn from your own mistakes when it's very expensive? Yeah, you can learn a lot from your own mistakes, but you can learn from somebody else's mistakes and achievements. So why not to do that? And in order to write the book, I did the research. I surveyed 1,447 startups, and more than 1,000 of them were viable startups and so-called scalable startups. It means like true startups, not like a lifestyle startups, but true startups that can, aim
Yeah.
for an exit. Why I have published this book, why I try to get this much of experience from other startup founders, because first of all, I tried to validate the idea of the book in front of the audience. I was invited to give a speech for startups. It was about maybe 300 startups. They were preparing for pitch competition the next day. So I provided them some training. And at the end, I showed, well, this and much more things you could get in the book. I showed them the 3D mock-up of the book. I showed them the table of contents of the book. And few people of the audience, they even asked, okay, where can we buy? Can we order it already? Okay, this is cool. This is like the validation of the idea that this book is needed. The concept is needed. That's cool. Later on, I even measured how many there were downloads of these templates, because after the end of my lecture, I shared the link and said, well, if you want to get this book and you can also get all these templates that we talked together, go and download it. And I saw that more than 25% who were in the room, they actually made some downloads from that. But the key insight from there was that there was one guy sitting somewhere at the back of the audience, this kind of like super pessimistic person. Why should we believe in you? There are a lot of books on startups. There are a lot of theories on startups. So how do you build a startup? What kind of startup you build? And all that kind of negativity going on. At that time was, gosh, this person is negative. So come on, I'm like a PhD candidate and whatever. So I will write really credible book and et cetera, et cetera. But then I got myself, well, this is probably my ego speaking. And okay, after the lecture, we had a coffee break, and I met this person with a cup of coffee and said, okay, so tell me, what exactly do you want from me to make this book a no-brainer for you? Why this should be like a must-read book for you? He then made some excuses. Okay, I didn't want to offend you. That's totally fine. Okay, but I'm very skeptical. He actually tried to build 2 or 3 startups. He burned out. You don't believe, all those fake, promises. And at that time, I said, okay, if I build you like the exact startup that you're building right now, it would be like a good book for you. Yeah, but you understand that it's impossible, because if I build a startup that you are willing to build, come on, this is no nonsense at all. So what should I do? I don't know. So I got a little bit kind of like an angry at that moment, and they said, okay, what if I would give you an experience of 1,000 startups in that book? If I would pack it in, would it be valuable for you or not? So he said, yeah, at least few of these startups would resonate with my situation, with my challenges, and that, yeah, okay, cool, that sounds good. That time I was driving from that event to my home more than 300 kilometers and thinking, oh gosh, what have I done? Now I need to find 1,000 startups. I knew maybe 10 startups, at maximum. So where should I find 909 additional startups? But that's how the journey of the research for the book started. So, so that's it. And I was digging deeper with those startups. If you failed, so why did you fail? What was the reason? What was your mindset? What were techniques you used, and et cetera, et cetera. And if you succeeded, what tools, methods you used, and what would you use repeatedly if you're building, another one startup, and which of these methods you wouldn't use. So I collected the set of tools, put them in 5 stages of startup evolution curve. If you are like in the first stage and just in the analysis state, you don't need even to go outside the building and talk to customers. You need just get like secondary data and just to make some assumptions, whether it makes sense or not to pursue that direction and so on. And there are other stages, other methods, but 35 lessons packed into that book for startup founders.
That's very cool. Now, let's come to the double sprint method, which is, I understood it's also like the cornerstone for, your advisory work. Can you explain it on a, also to us on a high level and tell us what it involves?
Yeah. If in a nutshell, most developers know working in sprints. Even UX designers and startups, yeah, we need to work in sprints. And I suggest working in double sprints. So what the hell does it mean? 2 times more work or what? I say that we are standing on 2 feet, not just on 1 foot, right? And we need to take 2 sides of the double sprint like method. The first side is obviously developing the product. You need to do the UX, wireframing, all that kind of stuff. That actual product exists that you can sell it. But on the other hand, you need to develop the business. You need to develop the customer. You need to go outside and find that customer who is willing actually to pay, or at least to commit paying you once the solution is available. So it means that simultaneously you are developing the product step by step on one side and building the waiting list of customers on the other side. And while you are building the waiting list of customers, you can build your early adopters program. You can build your customers advisory board of 5 to 10 customers who will advise you how to develop the product. And you can turn to them and say, hey guys, there are 10 features that we are like willing to build. And we hear from the market that these features are essential, but we won't release them until the end of the year or whatever it is. So which of those features, top 3, would be the best pick? And you don't make the decision. You ask your customers, and okay, would you pay for these 3 features instead of waiting for a year? That's how you do. And each circle, each side of the double sprint method has 10 steps, and you need to do like all of these steps, one by one, and eventually you will come down from initial idea of you want to build to a market proven product specification. At that time, you will have the waiting list of potential customers and maybe some commitment in terms of money, time, or reputation from customers. And you will have the tech specification so that you could handle it to developers and say, hey, this is what I want to build. And, how much it will cost me? When can you do it? And that's it. And once it's done, you already have the list of customers who are waiting for that product. That's what the double sprint is in a nutshell.
So basically, it's part of the validation, right, Donatas?
Yep, exactly. It's validation and improvement of the product on the go. It's not just like, I have amazing idea, now let's get and check it. Oops, it's wrong. No, why it's wrong? How to make it a no-brainer for the audience. You improve it, you get back to the product. And what I do, I never start working with the customer until we do the double sprint audit. Like we take this diagram and diagnose their situation, and I pinpoint where are like critical areas based on my experience, based on that method, where I would focus on. And only after that, we can jump in and start, diagnosing what needs to be done to fix the situation, to move on forward. And what I very, very often see that product development is far, far away, but customer development, in the best case, founders have done some discovery interviews, some initial idea validation, but their product development has already gone too far from that initial idea validation, and they didn't touch the base with customers if they are building the right thing and if customers are willing to commit monetary obligations to that.
Right. Right. Now, let me be a little bit Like the friend you just described a while ago, like the skeptical guy. Yeah. And I'm asking this because I know, like some of the audience might have this. Because I hear it a lot. Hey, I don't want to mention exactly why I'm building because I'm bringing something completely new to the market, right? So
Mhm.
we hear this from some founders. Part of why my role also as well. I like to try to help these founders in other things. So how this applies, and uh, I would say, should they really have this mentality? Oh, like I'm bringing some innovation, I cannot even now show it to them. Like, what you tell,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I see the
such
point.
such for.
Uh, yeah, for me, it's like a good sign because I meet less and less people who think in that way. Previously, I met a lot of people who were thinking, "Hey, I'm genius. I'm Albert Einstein. I've invented something that, wow, this is amazing." But my question is, uh, if this idea is so unique, how do you know that market needs it?
Mm,
Just think about that. If no one else has built it before, what proof do you have that it needs to be in the market, that people are ready, willing, and able to pay money for that? So it's either one of two. Either you are a genius like Albert Einstein and you created something innovative. That's cool. I don't neglect. This is possible. Yeah, that's cool. But 99.9%, we are not Albert Einsteins. And the case is that maybe market simply doesn't need that. For us, it seems like really valuable thing. And I had like personal experience with one founder coming to me when he has already invested more than 240,000 euros in building the platform for B2B customers, like a marketplace, like a platform, based on his personal experience. He actually sold 50% of the shares that he owned in the traditional business in the construction industry. And he invested almost all of that amount into building that startup without any idea validation because he was so cautious. No, 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 I don't want to tell anyone until it's ready. But when it's ready, then it will be amazing. And he built only based on his own assumptions, on his own experience, even though he had more than 20 years of experience in that niche, but he failed miserably.
mm.
So out of that 240,000 euros spent, he didn't get even a single euro back. He got maybe 160 registered users, but not paying customers.
Right, right. Now, how this align, Donatas, with, the concept is not new, but I mean, this aligns this methodology of what's called building in public, right? So now we are seeing more people, more entrepreneurs, and sometimes even solopreneurs. They do building in public, and I follow them, and I see, like these guys, sometimes it's a one-man show, and they are getting really cool, feedback from the community, whether they're followers on social media or whatever. So, does it align with that, concept of building in public a little bit?
Um, what I suggest and what we do in the double sprint method, we actually address both of these sides. Yeah, I have something innovative I don't want to give away to my competitors. Sometimes it's actually a good a good thing that founder is aware of specific competitors in the market. So if I give away this idea, other competitors, they have deeper pockets in the market. They are looking for competitive edge. And I have this edge in my mind. I've been in the industry. I know that kind of stuff. And they can copy me, implemented their own solution, and everybody in the market will think that they were those genius who created that stuff, that improvement. I'm not afraid that, come on, somebody will steal my idea, but I know 2 or 3 players in the market who actually can benefit from that. And in this case, yep, it makes sense not to showcase everything in front. Like I wouldn't be like 100%, transparent of what we are building. So what we do in the double sprint method is that we are approaching customers and asking about the problem. So what do you want to solve and what the result you want to get? We are talking about what, but not how. Publicly, we are revealing what we are building, but not how we are building, how we are different, how we are efficient, how we are competitively stronger than anyone in the market. So you can publicly show, yeah, this is like our public roadmap, but this is our private roadmap where you build all these kind of like things that will give you unfair competitive advantage. And if you don't have unfair competitive advantage, and the only advantage is that nobody else knows your idea, you are already in trouble.
Right.
Because anytime you will find the guy, the company who has deeper pockets, and they simply copy you. That's it. And another thing, what we do in the double sprint is that we try to build early adopters program, which means that we show to our early adopters the way more than publicly. So publicly, we can create just a landing page that, hey, if you are like our ICP, ideal customer profile, have this specific problem, and you're looking for some kind of like this solution or result, enroll, have a call with us. And that's it, what they know about what we are building, if we are like in kind of stealth mode. But when we talk with potential early adopters, we can measure the temperature of their involvement, and we can do some kind of like a due diligence. If this is our direct competitor, okay, sorry, we're not interested. If it's not a direct competitor, cool, we can accept you in our early adopters program. You have to pay something to get access to the program, to get early access to the tool, to test it, to co-create with us, and et cetera, et cetera. Maybe this would be a paid pilot. And what it means that we collect like 5, 10 customers, if we are talking in B2B, like businesses, who have much more information than anyone in public could understand about what we are building. And this is where we get that specific feedback. What's in it if everybody in the market knows what you are building? Will you get feedback from them? Mostly you will get feedback from critics and tire kickers. But if you have early adopters who have their skin in the game, who already invested their time and money, they will want that you will build that damn good solution for them, because they already invested money and they want to get really great solution for that. And they will give you like that feedback that is implementable and helps you building better product.
Right. So Donatas, the next question would be where I can find these early adopters.
Oh, nice. This is nice. There are a few different channels, but first of all, you need to think about what will you offer for them? That's the tricky thing, because you can find like the place, the space where they hang around. But what you're going to do, like if they are on Reddit, on Facebook group, or on LinkedIn group, hey, buy my stuff or enroll in my program, that doesn't work anymore, because there are too many like kind of like spammers, or like I'm building this, building that. That doesn't work. So the first step is to find where they actually hang around. That's the right question. And this is like different from case to case. The second question, which I would even put in the first place, what's in it for them? How would you get their attention? And this question, we could even split into two, minor questions. Like the one would be like, what's your big marketing idea? What's like the catchy headline, but not like the bold statement that is unbelievable. No, this is the big idea, the game changer, which is usually based on some macro trends happening in the industry. And you showcase that, well, this is the window of opportunity based on these macro trends. And you are building the tool that will allow you to use that opportunity of window. And now the call to action, jump in and get to it. And this is the second part of the question. So what will you get if you jump in? Okay, you will get on the call with me. So what's in it for you? You will sign up for the waiting lists. Okay, so what's in it for you? What's there? So for instance, one startup founder on our Double Sprint 90-day bootcamp is building the tool for managing OKRs, objective key results methodology. So for early adopters, he offers one-on-one sessions. And this is a tremendous value. So if you are a scale up and you're trying to grow from the team of 5 people to 50 people, from 100K to 1 million ARR, this is totally different leagues of where I'm playing the game. And this founder introduces not just the tool, but first of all, he has like the coaching session. Okay, what are your goals? How quickly are you predicting your growth, and et cetera, et cetera. He helps them to set up these goals. He gives them like 30 days access to the tool to track, to measure everything. And if he sees that it's a good fit, he offers them an early adopters program. Either it's like a fixed fee or a monthly fee, depends like on the stage when you're joining. But this is a very clear value for them. And this founder is really a tough guy, because he managed to get from X employees to Y employees, from 100K to a few million. And if you want to do the same, why not to talk with this guy?
Right. Now, something also you mentioned at the beginning. Now, it's all about part of the validation. You mentioned about researching customers, and you said, you can do this without going out of the room. like this phrase caught my attention, and I want you to also explain it a little bit more.
Yep. You won't get 100% validation or of the idea without going outside the room and talking to people, but you can get 100% rejection of your idea without going outside the room. That's pretty obvious. Like, you use definitely secondary data. Now with current tools, with AI tools that can help you to boost your search speed, it, you know, how to say that politely? You would be a lazy person if you wouldn't do the initial analysis before talking to anyone. So when you go outside the building and try to talk to potential customers, you already have to do your homework before doing that, actually, so that well, it makes sense. Now I need just to put the dots on I, and that's it. So for instance, one example was like, startup was pitching an idea for the jury and to get some kind of like funding and the prize and etc. And this is innovative. This is crazy. We talk to customers. They say they would pay, they would buy. How many customers do you have? None, but they will buy once we build it. Where did I hear that story? And one of the jury members took his iPhone, I believe, and he simply searched and he found like 5 or 6 sellers on Alibaba showing that kind of innovative stuff. And he said, this is a new thing for us. The founder even didn't knew that the same product is already available and mass produced in China. So why? Why are you going to talk to people without doing that secondary data research? If you have done that, like this is like the first step of validation. Cool. It makes sense. Then you do the competitor research. If there is the demand in the market, that's great. But what's the supply? And can you find the niche? Can you find the difference? You have your hypothesis on the niche. This is how we're going to be different. This is who we're going to serve. And this is what kind of value we're going to provide for them. Now let's go and talk to those people who we desire to serve and tell them about the value that we intend to create. And you get their feedback. Donatas, this is bullshit. We don't need that. Okay, I got it. I will talk to a few other people. If they tell me the same thing, sorry, my conclusions were wrong. But if I get the confirmation, okay, these kind of people, ICP, ideal customer profile, they are ready to get this value from me for, well, this specific like payment, price, or whatever it is. But again, if we are talking about price, saying is not the same as paying. Interviews won't validate your pricing. So the least thing what we did during discovery interviews is we asked them, what would be the most fair way to charge for this? So you see, you have this problem. We have the solution. We have no clue like how to charge for it, how much it will cost or whatever it is. So Mehmet, what would be the most fairest way to charge for it? And we simply wait from the customer. And customers, okay, based on, how much it costs me right now, based on what would I get? Okay, cool. We are getting to some numbers and to even specific pricing models based on either it's like usage, based on value delivered, based on time on whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So Donatas, like all this is part, of validation, and the ultimate goal is to reach what we call the product market fit, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned a couple of examples, but in your experience, that because you work with a lot of startups and you studied a lot of stuff, maybe I will be. I know, like the answer is that some of the mistakes maybe still happen now, but what are the most common ones that you see them keep repeating it, and how they can avoid them?
Building too robust product without validation in monetary form. Like they got initial validation. Yeah, this is good. This is great. And they try to build super product with, polished version of the product without having a clue if somebody will pay for that. They believe that they will pay, but most likely it's not going to happen. In most of the cases, it doesn't happen. The next thing is that you build two features that are nice to have. And you need to ask customers, well, we have the list of 10 features. You need to pick on 3 or 5, whatever. So which one of those you will pick? We need to prioritize these things. Another issue is that they think, okay, if I build the product, if the value is really great, it will be very easy to get customers. You are only partly right. Your product must be valuable enough for customers to get interested in that. But now we as users, as customers, we are getting so many messages all over the place. so that your message needs to be sharp. It needs to be specific. And what we train, you need to build like kind of like a big marketing idea that it's different from the market, that you interrupt pattern. But if you believe that you will build the product and then send mass emails announcing, ta-da, now go and buy my stuff, it ain't gonna work. Or we think that, okay, we will publish on Facebook or on LinkedIn and everybody will enroll. Or we will call DM on LinkedIn decision maker CEOs of companies and they will purchase our solution. It ain't gonna happen. Maybe one or two, but it will be like exception from the rule, not the rule itself. So you need to have your channels. You need to have your message in it. And what I also usually see that founders skip that step that you need. Well, it's very advisable. It's not that it's a must, but it's very advisable to have customer advisory board. Because if you
Hmm.
have customer advisory board, everything else, comes a lot easier because you can consult with customer advisory board. Okay, where do you hang around, guys? Could you refer me 3 or 5 other businesses who might benefit from that solution? Okay, cool. Could I get your testimonial? What did you find most valuable about our software or platform? Cool. What was the aha moment when you made that decision? This is the thing that will change, our game or whatever it is. You get all of that from your early adopters program members, and then you can translate that into the market, into your marketing message and get even more customers. So this is another one mistake, that you don't build customer advisory board. Another mistake is like on the other side, very controversial, like they try too hard selling initially. And then they say, well, it doesn't work. You just built the MVP or just made the sketch or wireframe. Oh, and try to sell, well, we will build this amazing cybersecurity solution and we will conquer the IBM, whatever kind of, that stuff. We will be much better. Now pay us 100K for that solution. Nobody pays us. This approach doesn't work and it's not good. That's not the way it works out. First of all, you do these discovery interviews. Okay, you are our ideal customer and we are creating you this kind of how. Does it make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. What would be the first way to charge for that? Okay, cool. What we need to add on it so it's a no-brainer. Okay, cool. Would you be willing to test it out, to try it out and give us feedback once we have like a wireframe or like a clickable mockup or whatever? Okay, yeah. And you go with, like you increase the temperature of the customer until a certain level when you say, well, we have our early adopters program. Would you like to join it? And here are exclusive conditions for that. Instead of, paying X amount per year, you can get like a lifetime license for a lump sum money, or maybe a discounted annual plan for as many years as you want, or whatever other conditions. We can also include number of development hours so that we can, adjust, customize the solution to your business needs. We can add additional training, additional, bonuses. So it's a no brainer. And then we do the pre-sale. It's not the way just I created the mock-up. I tried to book like a sales call with the founder, with the CEO of the company that they see for the first time and try to sell him. And then I say, well, it doesn't work. No, we built the relationship. We measure temperature. And when it's like hot enough, we say, well, would it make sense for you to join the program? That's it. And another one challenge and problem is that most founders aren't aware that market is segmented in these like early adopters, innovators, and laggards. And they believe, oh, there are thousands of companies who are our potential customers. But to be frank, on average, it's only about 2.5% are innovators. And so what does it mean? It means that you will have to make like 20 meetings to get one customer, one innovator adopted into your offer. So the mistake is they try to approach 10 customers, potential customers who are not early adopters at all, who are like very traditional, like stone age companies. Oh, they didn't get interested in our solution. Pre-sale doesn't work. That's not how it should be done.
Yeah, that's really resonates a lot because some people they think when they prepare, especially for their pitch decks, they do the TAM and they forget to do the other ones, the SAM and SAMs, right? So they look at the TAM and let's say the TAM is, I'm just throwing a number, like it's
Yeah.
$10 billion. Actually, if they just take the time to do the other two, the SAM and the SOM, because at the end of the day, I think till it reaches the SOM, it would be like around like maybe 2 or 3% from the TAM,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So if they talk about the sum, let's say, and they say, okay, we're gonna add with these, and you gotta take 10% of this one, it makes sense. But yeah, I see also the same thing. People are very ambitious, especially new first time founders. They are so excited. Um, which I can, I can understand. Like, if you ask me 20 years back, I used to have ideas. I didn't start any startup, but yeah, I would say, yeah, hey, I'm doing this thing that no one else saw. So,
Um,
to your point, Donatas, like you mentioned something which also I think it's interesting, because you talked about having a parallel development between from software perspective, coding, and blah blah blah, and something related to the customers, building the customers, and I'm sure here and you come from a marketing background. So, how they should prioritize the marketing and how they should, I would say, customize the messaging also as well while doing this double sprint because it's part of the double sprint.
Yeah, that's a broad question, but I try to answer it. So as in the way I can answer it. So,
Sure.
so the main thing is not just to focus on tiny details of your product, how it's going to look like at the very end, but try to focus on the value that you will create. It's not about how you will create that value for customer, but what problem you will solve for the customer and what value you will deliver. This is the very first step in marketing that you go and do. And you do on secondary analysis. Well, makes sense. Nobody does in the market and they believe that we could do. Now I go to people and talk with them. And if they say, yeah, this is amazing, keep me in the loop, let me know. Cool. You already started not only marketing, but already your sales process because these people are waiting for your message. And the whole marketing message has to be crafted not about the product, not about the features, not about the functionality, but about the value that you deliver. Even in B2B, and I would even say especially in B2B, because in B2B, we have less emotions and more rational. Okay, I pay you 10K a year, so what do I get? Can I get 20K? Okay, but that's not a tremendous value, it's just 2x. So when we build software and when we try to sell it to someone else, I always ask, what's your 10x result? If you want to charge 10K, so we have to create value for 100K. This is what we try to seek to achieve. If we hit only 50K result for the customer, it's still 5 times more than customer invested and probably feel that it's much easier to sell 5 times higher value than we are asking to charge for it. That's when we start our marketing. Another thing is crucial discovery interviews where you try to dig deeper into specific wording of your customers. How do they talk about that specific problem? What words do they use? What keywords? What's their main challenge? And that's why I don't count just on secondary data. I always want to go and to speak with customers, potential customers. Once I get their message, then I go and test it via different channels. We use, let's say, social media, Facebook or LinkedIn. We use paid ads. We test like 3 to 5 different marketing messages, but these messages are built based on what I've heard from people, uh, how they define the problem, how they define the result that they want to get, and I throw at the audience, put some cash for for Meta or for LinkedIn, and see what are numbers. And based on that, we can talk. Cool. Now our customer acquisition costs on average are this much. We will keep our customer, let's say, for 3 months, for a year, for whatever it is, and we charge this much. So our customer lifetime value is this much. Cool if we are profitable. If we are not profitable, we can't go at scale because we are just going to burn our money. So we need to find the minimal profitable channel to sell our first product, and only then we should think about okay how to scale, how to add more gas into that burning fire.
Right. Um, and one thing, if you allow me, Donatas, to add also, and this is applies not only from the marketing, maybe even when they try to pitch to investors. So they need because I love reading books about startups and get and this is why I'm interviewing you also. And one thing that always comes up is the customer journey. Like describe the customer journey. Like you're taking him or her from this point, right? He or she is here, and now you are taking them to there. Like and describing this. And I'm just reading this book by Tony Fadell, the Build. It's amazing. He describes this customer journey thing, and he compares himself when he was younger and he was just wanted to build shiny hardware products, and then he started to understand the concept of customer journey, and the guy came up with the iPod, iPhone, and then the Nest. So I advise everyone to go and read this book. It's very, very nice. Now, speaking about funding and investment, a little bit here, Jonatas, how do you advise startups to approach investor conversations, especially if they are in the early stages?
No, the best investor is your customer. Like, I had like the double sprint audit last week with one potential customer, and I hope that he will enroll in our program. And when we discussed with him, I asked, okay, why not to go to your potential customers and offer them becoming your investor? Because I don't want to give away any specific details because it still might be kind of like a confidential. But the key idea was that, well, you can become like an early adopter of that platform so you could get some benefits for your own business. But if you become an investor of that platform, you would earn even from your competitors' profit because you are serving your competitors as well. So for you, it doesn't mean much if the customer comes to your business or to your competitor's business. You earn some cash out of that if you become an investor in that tool that serves the market. But the rule of thumb is that I don't advise going to investors until you have traction because, well, it will be based just on ideas and the whole, fundraising process will be built just based on emotions and personal connection. But imagine the situation when you come to investors and say that we have like 5 customers who already paid us at least 1K each or 10K each. Well, it depends on solution, on what we are trying to build. And we have the waiting list of, this number of potential customers willing in that solution. And now we are looking for X amount to build this MVP to ship it out. We don't need more. We need just this amount to ship it out. And once we ship it out, we are very confident that out of 120 customers on the waiting list, at least 20 or 15 will take the offer and we can even return your investment back. So literally, I show you that I don't need your investment so much because I could self-fund from customer development. This is the ideal case scenario, what we are looking for. Because if you can't get to that stage that customers are willing to wait for your product, to give you some kind of like commitment, it gives me a strong doubt if I'm building the right thing. And as you mentioned, like customer journey, if you show like how the customer journey will look like with your product, it has to be so much different so that customer says, okay, take my money like a deposit. Or maybe it's like refundable deposit, maybe not refundable deposit, but I want to, stay in the loop and know when the product is ready for testing. That's what we want to have before talking to any investors. And you actually can achieve that without any major investment. Today's tools like no code, low code, wireframing approach with software and platform solution, this is doable. Come on, this happens every day.
And I can tell that I'm doing it also myself without paying large amounts. I don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to, okay, I have a technical background. If I want to code, maybe I can learn easily. But yeah, like I have a couple of ideas. And the way I'm doing it, I don't have to pay 100K. So I'm just using low code, no code tools. And I'm just throwing in front of some friends and, like people who I know and say to do the validation. And it was going very smoothly. And like the beauty of these things, you can change also very fast. So you're a fan, Donatas, I believe, this is my feeling. You're a fan of bootstrapping a business, unless you are onto something big and really you need like big fund, and then you go to gather these big amounts and bring these big checks, right?
Yep, exactly. You need to put yourself on the right trajectory, and like fundraising and investment from investors is extra fuel that speed up your process. Put yourself on the right track at the very beginning. Investors won't do that for you because most investors are portfolio investors. They invest in 10, 20 startups. And if one or two of them, shoots to the sky, that's the good result for them. They get their money back, but they don't care about the rest 19 or 18 startups. And what are chances that where you will end up? So you need to put yourself on the right track and use the investment as the fuel, as the catalyst for scaling up.
Right. So how, this is like maybe again a generic question, but because you are in the heart of the startup world, I would say, Donatas, because I'm sure that you deal with a lot of them on daily basis. So what are the trends that you are seeing, and how, what kind of maybe new generation SaaS we might be seeing in the near future? Because I know that you focus more on SaaS businesses.
Yeah, it's very general question, but what I see that quite many founders are trying to capitalize on new opportunities with AI and connections, automations to avoid like coding every single line of code on themselves. No, let's try to assemble multiple tools into one thing, deliver that value, and after that we can create something maybe out from scratch that will have unique code and etc. So I see very many founders trying to look how to optimize the delivery process of the product, not necessarily testing it in the market in the first place, but it's not the old school approach like, okay, I'm coding from from the beginning. So what we're gonna see in the future, it will be like more software, more platforms that will be built on low code, no code, and with AI generated codes. That's definitely. We will see more integrations via webhooks, APIs, so that like your solution, if it's just a standalone solution which speaks to none of other solutions in the market, now it becomes obsolete. You need to integrate your solution with other softwares, with other platforms in the market. And how you're going to do that, this might be your competitive advantage again. And I see businesses thinking about how to do that. Another another trend, what I see is like could be called a piggyback strategy when you try to build the solution on somebody's else audience already and introduce it. Like for instance, you're using this tool which has millions of users all over the world, and maybe this tool has its own internal marketplace or app store or whatever it is. You build specific app for solving specific problem, fine tuning something, and you can capitalize really nice on that. And the main idea of it, the main goal is not necessary to build a self-sustainable and scalable business, but successful exit. You created this tool, which is based like micro SaaS on one or two features. By the way, micro SaaS, I believe, will be booming, like solving one or two specific issues, and that's it. And they don't need to raise huge amounts of capital for that, and they are built really fast, and you can exit really quickly after that, successfully, profitably do that. So these are like general trends that I notice on a daily basis when I talk to founders.
Yeah, on that last one, I always but warn people who come to me with ideas. Fine, but put this part of your risk strategy, because I like risk. I work in cybersecurity domain, and data privacy and all this. So risk is always something on top of my mind. I say make sure when you build on top of another platform, that this platform will not be holding your destiny, or you have a plan B when this platform decide to do something. And we saw recently a lot of examples when now X, previously Twitter, they changed their API, for
Yeah.
example. It happened with Reddit as well. It happened many times, and like you are under the mercy of this platform. And if one day, actually, the Apple Store story, back I think 2011, 2012, when they decided they would reject some of the apps built on these low code, no
Yeah.
code tools, and it caused some people to go out of business. So always, what I advise, keep this risk. Okay, maybe you're gonna make some money, but think about the future. So this is something,
Yeah,
a
it
small
shouldn't be your
contribution.
retirement plan.
Exactly. So have the plan B, and as Dorota said, don't make it your retirement plan. Um, Dorota, like as we come to an end, I tried to cover as much as possible, but is there anything specific that you wish that I have asked, or you want to talk about?
Um, I don't have any specific questions. I'm the person who answers specific questions from founders because every SaaS, every platform is at least slightly different. They have slightly different challenges. Yeah, they have general topics like E5 hypothesis that needs to be validated. That's cool. But when they try to do that, they come to more specific challenges. At least what would I suggest? If someone is interested in the double sprint method, they can go for the doublesprintmethod.com and check the video. It's about half an hour length, like 30 minutes, explaining the whole method absolutely free of charge. That's it. And you can download the PDF of that like double sprint method diagram, and you could diagnose the situation. Maybe you can diagnose the situation on your own, like to check each of these steps. Have you done this, or did you miss this or that specific question? That's it. So, and if you would like to connect for more detailed feedback, you could join Facebook group, again, absolutely free of charge, Founders Launching SaaS on Facebook, and we can communicate there. I also share daily tips there. And if you have any questions, you can post your questions in Founders Launching SaaS Facebook group, and we could answer these questions there.
That's great. Thank you very much, Donatas. I will make sure that I will put these links in the episode description. Thank you very much, Donatas. Like a lot of advice, a lot of information, and a lot of knowledge shared by you today. So I really appreciate that. And as you mentioned, like if someone wants to connect, so I will put all these links so you can go and still, I think the Udemy course still there, right? So they can also go and check it.
It's
Yeah.
there.
So you can also go check the course of Donatas on Udemy as well. And as usual, this is the way I end my episode. Guys, keep the feedbacks coming. I love feedbacks because I see this podcast as a startup. So keep the feedback coming. Tell me what you are liking, what you are not liking, anything, any special topic you want me to focus more on. And although like everyone is happy now with the mix that we have, so I'm really glad to see your feedback. And if you are interested to be also a guest, don't be shy. Reach out if you have a story to share. If you are a startup founder yourself and you want to share something with us, so we can discuss this also as well. This is a way where you can share with the audience. And as I say always, hope that I'm adding some value to you. And if you're liking my work, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. And we will meet again in a episode very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.